The participants fought on with tactics that did not match the immense firepower of weapons available. Most of the death and destruction happened in France under trench warfare. The conditions were miserable. It was a war of attrition with a high casualty rate, diseases and infections, including trench fever spread by lice, gangrene from war wounds, intestinal parasites like tapeworm, and trench foot, especially during winter. Trench rats ate soldier rations and dead soldiers. Probably most soldiers suffered from what is now called PTSD, then shell shock. Hundreds were executed for cowardice. Although their positions remained relatively constant and soldiers at the front were usually relieved often, their experience with food was repetitive and often miserable. Poor nutrition led to increased levels of disease and apathy. The staples were canned food, including corned beef, called bully beef, canned stews and vegetables, bread or hardtack biscuits. Quantity and quality varied by location and time, with field kitchens the best opportunity. Getting food to the front lines was difficult and spoilage common. Scavenging was used especially when rations were rare. Italy, Bulgaria, Romania, and Greece joined the Axis in 1915. Italy was part of the Triple Alliance with Germany and Austro-Hungary, but remained neutral, then joined the Allies after secret negotiations with London in exchange for promised territory. The U.S. joined in 1917 after Germany used unrestricted submarine warfare against Atlantic shipping. The German U-boats sunk a total of 200 U.S. vessels. Starvation was a problem on the Eastern Front, particularly in Russia and Poland, due to scorched earth tactics, blockades, and military destruction and demands on the civilians. Russia sued for peace in March 1918. Then Bulgaria, the Ottoman Empire, and Austro-Hungary signed armistices, which left only Germany. Germany fought on despite food shortages and public dissatisfaction. During the winter of 1916 and 17 in Germany, there was hardship on civilians as food was sent to the military. As farmers joined the army, there was a lack of labor. Bad weather produced a poor potato harvest that left turnips and rutabaga, normally used as animal food. The result was malnutrition and illness made worse as wounded soldiers returned home. All these factors increased anger. Ernest Hemingway wanted to enter the war, but the army rejected him due to poor eyesight. So he volunteered with the American Red Cross ambulance service in 1917. Hemingway was wounded by an Austrian mortar and shot, followed by hospitalization in Milan to recuperate. That led to his novel A Farewell to Arms. He became famous as a war hero and major literary figure. He would spend most of the 1920s in Paris as part of the Lost Generation. President Woodrow Wilson maintained neutrality in 1914, although many Americans favored the Allies, as did Hemingway. The major turning point was German submarine warfare sinking U.S. merchant vessels. Add to that the Zimmermann telegram from Germany to Mexico. German Foreign Minister Arthur Zimmermann sent the message to the ambassador to Mexico, proposing an alliance with Germany to offer Mexican territories lost to the U.S. for joining the Axis. This was intercepted by the British. Wilson asked Congress to declare war in April 1917, which was soon passed. The American Expeditionary Forces were under General Pershing, arriving on the Western Front in mid-1917. By May 1918, over 2 million American troops arrived, fighting in several campaigns. Logistics were placed under Chicago banker Charles Dawes. The food to the troops was favorable, including beef, mutton, bread, potatoes, plum pudding, and instant coffee. Perishable goods like ravioli and spaghetti were shipped in tin cans. There were mobile field bakeries, kitchens, and food trucks. What was considered luxuries included milk, butter, candy, and cigarettes. Of course, with 2 million troops in a war zone, getting food where needed was difficult. Probably not, but it was a turning point, especially on the psychological impact of both the Allies and Germans. Germany launched a spring offensive in 1918, initially successful, but the advances stopped. Lack of adequate food and supplies will do that. The German war effort was exhausted. The Kaiser abdicated and the armistice ended the war on November 11, 1918, because of military failures and internal pressures, including food shortages and social unrest. The armistice terms were harsh and designed to prevent Germany from waging future wars. The period between the two world wars was 1918 to 1939, called the interwar period, a period of successes and failures, then the rise of fascists, next time on food history and mystery.